in the blink of an eye, things change at the national level. Congressman Mike Johnson is here. Hey, Mr. Mike, thank you for taking time for us. What's up, man?
Hey, guys, I'm actually home. I got home late last night after the debacle of the week with that omnibus spending bill nonsense.
You might have to go back.
Thank you. I was driving my kids to school, and I just happened to, I was listening to you guys, as I do when I'm in town, and I heard Senator Kennedy's interview. And right after that, we all got the information by text that the president's tweeting that he may veto the bill, and that's a bombshell, and I hope that he does.
Well, let's start with what you call the debacle. We talked to Mr. John last hour about his Great Dane whiz analogy. We shan't repeat that, but explain to us Happy National Puppy Day.
Are your pants dry today, by the way?
Listen. I sent him a text after I heard y'all talking about it this morning. I said, Senator, I just want you to know we haven't talked since Wednesday night, but in the heat of the battle, in the midst of our frustration, we saw your text come across. It literally made me stop and laugh until I cried, and I so needed that therapeutic reprieve.
So tell us why, to use your lexicon, it was a debacle.
So look, they presented us a bill. First of all, we got the bill at 7:59 p.m., okay, on Wednesday night. We were scheduled to vote on it about noon on Thursday. The bill's 2,232 pages long. Literally impossible for us to not only just complete an accurate and careful reading of the bill, much less, but to consider it. We had no chance at debate. We had no chance at input. This is not regular order. This is what, banana republics do. They get 4 or 5 people in a room and they dictate policy to everyone. That's not what we're supposed to be about. And when the American people delivered to the Republican Party, to conservatives, ostensibly, both houses of Congress and the White House, they expected us to change the way business is done. I mean, this is just like what Pelosi and company did with the Obamacare debacle. Let's pass it and see what's in it.
Pardon me, Mike. You're telling me that there's this sort of contingent, this behind-the-scenes team of Democrats and establishment Republicans, and when it came to this bill, are you telling me the fix was in?
There's really no other way to describe it, and I don't want to dump on our Republican leadership in the House. They say that their hands are tied because of the archaic rules in the Senate, as everybody knows, with the filibuster rules and cloture and all that. In layman's terms, what it means is you got to have 60 votes to pass the budget, and so you need at least 9 Democrats to go along with the Republican majority to get it done, which puts Chuck Schumer in the driver's seat. Now, what I say in response to that argument is, let's blow up that archaic rule. It only dates back to the 1970s. This is not what the founders of our country intended. It's not the way it's supposed to work. Let's go to majority vote in the Senate. If we do that, we can actually advance the agenda and get beyond all this nonsense. But there's not the political will to do that. For whatever reason, McConnell and company won't do it, and that's ultimately our problem.
Kind of a two-part question here as regards this $1.3 trillion bill. If sort of if the fix was in with, for lack of a better term, deep state guys, the establishment guys of both parties, did the president know what was going to be in the bill? Did they think he was going to go along with it? I know publicly he had said, I will sign it. And his tweet this morning that you just talked about, it's a bombshell that the president says, I may not sign it. Is he... Explain to me, is this a presidential double cross? What's going on?
Robert, that's the question of the morning, and I'll tell you a little inside baseball here. I got a call about 24 hours ago from the White House. It was about an hour before the vote, so mid-morning yesterday. I got a call from the White House, their liaison, who's assigned to me, who says, Mike, we really, really need you. The president needs you to vote yes on this. I said, let me tell you something. I can't be a yes on this bill, and the president shouldn't either. Does the president know what's in this legislation? Well, we met with leadership yesterday. Has the president reviewed? I said to the fellow I was talking on the phone, have you read the bill? No one in the White House has read this bill. You couldn't have. It just got released. It's 2,232 pages long. They're not being honest with the president. I said, look, our nation's top military officials have repeatedly warned Congress the number one threat to our national security is our debt. We're going to do $1 trillion in deficit spending. We're going to borrow from China to do all these Chuck Schumer priorities. I mean, have you looked at the bill? I mean, I'm going through this with the White House. It has nothing for border security efforts. I mean, just a little pittance for, a small part of a wall. No restrictions on sanctuary cities. We got funding for Planned Parenthood. Obamacare is kept intact. The White House doesn't know what's going on.
Pardon me just a second. So yesterday morning, you are being lobbied. You are being worked by the president's people to vote yes. And it seemed the president was a go. Hell, publicly he was saying he would vote.
They had
for
already
it.
Said it. That's right. They publicly stated it. Yeah.
So let's be a political analyst here. Mike Johnson, political pundit. What happened in those 10 or 12 hours?
Well, I think that the president began to see the backlash. He saw that 90 of us in the House, 90 conservatives in the House, Republicans voted no. I'm sure that got his attention. And then what happened in the Senate late last night? He's hearing the backlash from people like me and Senator John Kennedy and others who said we could not go along with this, and here's the 1,000 reasons why, not just because of the process, but because of the content of the bill itself. And this is not what the American people sent us to Congress to do. We've got to change the way business is done. I think the president is hearing all that this morning, and it's gotten his attention. And I think he's scratching his head and wondering why no one told him all of this yesterday.
That's my question. You just said a minute ago, you said the White House didn't know what was in it. How does that even happen?
So, Erin, look, the process is broken, right? And when you have a handful of people in a back room making legislation like this, they go and they make a report. They literally sit down in the Oval Office with the president and give him the summary of what the legislation is.
And then his people call you and tell you to vote for it when they don't even know what's in it.
That's exactly what I told him on the phone. I said, guys, I don't think you fully understand what it is you're asking us to support here. I think everybody needs to take a deep breath, slow down, and review this thing, because it's a terrible mistake for the president, for the country, for all of us.
So if he vetoes it, what happens?
Well, if he vetoes it, then we've all got to turn around and go right back to Washington, because the government will shut down, quote unquote, on Saturday, because that's when the funding is up. That's the deadline.
Midnight tonight.
Yeah, that's right. So what we'll have to do is go back to Washington and I guess start from scratch. Here's an important point. The House has done its job, and I mean, we can't emphasize this enough. Last year and over the last few months, we passed 12 separate appropriations bills. That's the way the system is designed to work. It's what's supposed to be done. We use regular order, amendment process. All of us had a say in that. We sent those 12 separate bills, not an omnibus, not everything lumped in together like this monstrosity is. Mm-hmm. 12 separate appropriations bills the House passed in regular order. First time it's been done in over nearly 30 years. We sent it to the Senate. And you know what they did with it? Nothing. It
so we did Mike Johnson prognosticator in about 10 more seconds. Mike Johnson pundit, now Mike Johnson prognosticator. Veto, yay or nay, yes or no?
My guess is right now I think he may veto it. And frankly, I hope he does.